camera. Jungkook and Jimin's rare moment in Incheon made the army melt. Incheon International Airport suddenly turned into a sea of emotions when two of the army's most longed-for figures, BTS's Jungkook and Jimin, however, suddenly appeared together. Unannounced, without strict escort, and without an official announcement from the agency. That day, no one expected that the airport would be the scene of the most touching moments rarely seen, since the two began their individual activities. One of the fans who happened to be waiting for departure at the international terminal became a direct witness of the moment. In a video lasting less than a minute that is now viral on social media, Jimin can be seen getting off first from a black van, wearing a beige jacket, a white mask, and a black beanie that covered almost his entire face. He looked down as he walked quickly, but just before entering the departure gate, he looked back as if he was waiting for someone, and that someone is Jungkook, wearing an oversized gray hoodie and a hat that he usually wears when he wants to disguise himself. Jungkook appears a few seconds later, which made all the army speechless, not only because of their presence, but because of the brief gazes they exchanged, followed by a small nod from Jimin and a slight smile from Jungkook, who was visible even though he was covered by a mask. No words, no hugs. But just from their body language, the world knows. The moment is real, meaningful, and not made up. More than 1 million people watched the video within 6 hours. The army called it a moment of quiet unification because during this time, after their military assignments and solo activities, the two were rarely seen together. Many felt that this was an affirmation that Jungkook's relationship remained strong, remained intact, and kept each other going even though they were busy on their respective paths. One of the fans wrote on X, Twitter, "With just one look, we know. They've never been far away. Their hearts are still talking to each other." Shortly after the video went viral, the keywords Jungkook Incheon and Jimin and Jungkook together occupied the first trending position in 18 countries. Some army even re-edited the clip to the accompaniment of the songs Still With You and Promise, both of which are their respective solo works, as if confirming that the meeting at the airport was not just a physical meeting, but the meeting between two souls who have long encouraged each other secretly. Even more surprising was the emergence of additional photos from trusted fan sites that managed to capture the seconds when Jimin held Jungkook's shoulder just before entering the check-in area. The gesture seems small and laconic, but it is full of meaning. As Jimin said, "Let's go again," together. The warmth of the moment did not stop there. Shortly after the two entered the departure area, one of the airport staff shared a story that Jungkook had greeted a little boy wearing a BTS t-shirt, while Jimin waved his hand briefly towards the security staff who smiled at the two. After their videos and photos went viral, the mood in the fandom instantly changed. Not only because of the surprise of Jungkook and Jimin's unexpected appearance, but because of the way they appear, so quiet, so simple, and so human. ARMY called the moment a louder meeting than the song's release. A tacit interaction that speaks more than words. Many began to review the moment from various angles. A body language analyst, who is also a longtime BTS fan, posted an in-depth explanation of the two's small gestures at the airport. He said, "The look Jimin threw at Jungkook was very significant. It waits. It keeps them going together." While Jungkook, as usual, took a short pause, then responded with a smile and a step that caught up with Jimin. It's not just about they look together, it's about how they make sure each other isn't left behind. Not a few soldiers feel that this moment is like a new chapter. After all the time they spent in the army, solo projects, and quite long joint absences, today it seems to be a silent sign that something is moving back. Not just projects, but togetherness. That they may be preparing to start something from the most honest point, from the airport, from a small smile, from a grip behind the shoulder. Local media even responded. Articles on Naver and Dispatch called their appearance a symbolic moment and an electrifying silence. Even international entertainment news outlets such as Billboard Korea co-cited fan reactions, calling this the most human highlight of the year. Interestingly, some fans at the airport admitted that before the two entered the check-in door, Jungkook turned once more to the outside, as if to see if anyone was paying attention. Perhaps because he was aware of the existence of the camera. but not to escape. It's like trying to capture the moment in silence. A farewell to the all-too-familiar city of Seoul, or rather a silent welcome to something new to come. A fan from Canada wrote, "I don't know what they'll do after this. But today, I believe that the two are still strengthening each other. And as long as they walk together, we can wait as long as anything." And so, the events that only happened in a matter of minutes in Incheon have now grown into an emotional conversation around the world. It's not because they're promoting something, not because of a comeback, but because Jungkook showed one important thing that the world often forgets: that strong connection doesn't need a stage, it just needs presence. After the plane carrying Jimin and Jungkook took off that night, the sky over Incheon felt different to the army. As if the clouds that previously looked like ordinary scattering now formed the silhouettes of two figures that have become a source of strength, hope, and love for millions of people around the world. They were gone while the fans remained quietly in place, but with hearts that moved faster than any plane. A few hours after their departure, speculation began to emerge. Where do they fly? Los Angeles? Paris? London? Some claim to see flight data pointing to the United States. Others insist that their goal is Tokyo for a special project. But one fact is indisputable: the two went together. That night, in the Army's online community around the world, various theories, memories, and poems poured in. Many have uploaded snippets of images from the short video and compared them to moments from the past, like when Jimin pulled Jungkook's hand at the airport in 2017, or when they stared at each other in silence on the last stage before enlistment. All of that, suddenly coming to life, becomes a complement to a narrative that is never really finished. The story of Jungkook's friendship that continues to grow despite the changing world. One of the most viral posts of the night came from a Brazilian army man. He wrote, "Today we got no teasers, no new songs, no big releases. But we got one look." And for me, who had been following them from the beginning, that one look was like coming home. A fan from Japan even wrote that the brief moment at the airport was the answer to a prayer he had prayed for months, not for a comeback, but to see Jimin and Jungkook happy and side by side again. Meanwhile, among industry observers, discussions about the great potential of the two together have come to the fore again. Is this a sign of a new unit? Duet project? Or is it precisely the documentary that highlights their emotional journey as individuals and as part of BTS? Many felt HYB was preparing something monumental, but with a much more intimate and artistic approach. But beyond all the speculation, for most of the army, the day was about taste. Not the agenda, not a concept, but a taste that has long been missed, seeing Jimin and Jungkook walking next to each other without distance, without masks of emotion, without pretense. They don't come for promotion. They came to attend. One of the airport staff who had seen their moment from a distance said, "I've seen celebrities come and go. But the two young men, they don't look like superstars. They looked like two best friends about to embark on an important journey." And for some reason, it was much more touching. That day, behind the cacophony of aircraft engines and monotonous boarding announcements, there was one kind of music that only the army could hear, music from the silence of two souls rediscovering each other. And when morning comes, everyone knows that the world has changed a little, not because of the new album, not because of a new award, but because of one little moment at the airport. That says a lot more than a stadium concert though, and in that one look, Jimin and Jungkook didn't just greet each other. They greet the world. When their plane finally took off that night, there was no official announcement of where they were going. But somehow, the army felt at peace. Because that day they saw not only their idols as stars, but as ordinary mortals walking side by side, without dialogue, without music. With just one glance contains 1,000 stories, and perhaps it is the most beautiful song they have ever delivered, without the need to sing.